Well, greetings, everyone. Welcome to the slightly delayed episode of Random Encounters. I had a bit of internet problem on Thursday. In fact, all of my part of the Seattle area was without internet for like uh, 18, 19 hours, like the entirety of the day. It started in 5 in the morning and didn't get back until, I guess, so it's more than 19 hours, but didn't get back until about 11:30 that night. Someone went in and literally hacked a bunch of wire out, severed the internet wire uh, and cable and phone to steal the copper wiring within. People can be a little crazy. But you know what? We're here today. It's a Saturday, nice day, and good day for drawing. Everyone's got a day off. No one, we're not interrupting anyone's dinner time. Hello, Linnea. Hope that you are well. Hope that Dave and perhaps Gus are there with you, or are watching on the replay. Sorry, I'm getting organized here, and that's never easy. Um, but yeah, so Thursday was a bit of a wash for everything I had planned to do. Um, but such is life. Actually, the fact of the matter is, since I do all of my drawing on my iPad with Procreate and an Apple Pen, uh, pencil, sorry, Apple Pencil, I was able to get a bunch of work done. I just couldn't upload it to my clients. That's all right. It was a fine day. Everything's fine. We're here. We're going to do some drawing, and maybe some people who don't usually join us can because it's a Saturday. We'll see. So, since we may have some new people here, let's start by explaining what's going on. This is Random Encounters. Welcome to the show. And what we do here is I've got a bunch of random encounter tables, like the kind you would use in a tabletop role playing game like Dungeons and Dragons. And we use a die roller, an electronic die roller, to randomly pick a subject and an action that subject is performing, and then I draw it. And of course, there's room for the folks who are in the live chat, like Linnea, to participate. So the guys are camping. Well, I hope they're staying warm and dry, and that they enjoy this on the replay. Uh, so yeah, so we randomly pick a subject, and then I draw it. So I mean, I have a rough idea what we may be drawing because I created the tables. But then, like I say, I let folks who are in the chat come up with little tweaks and things to add, or sometimes we have a big open space. If we roll the same thing twice, then I just leave it open for kind of anything goes. So, I'm speaking to Linnea and Dave, who are Dave. We heard is not in the chat today, but their family has often given some really great ideas, many of which have wound up in drawing. So, without further ado, and I have adoed a lot so far, let's switch over here, and we'll see these are our tables for today. We've gotten rid of the Thanksgiving themed stuff from last time, but we still have some fall themed things in there. We will see more and more holiday themed things as we move in, particularly on the what side, for as we move into the rest of December. Hello, Dale and Cindy. I'm presuming that's the us part of us. Welcome to a Saturday edition of Random Encounters. We're about to pick our first encounter and get going with that. So let's do that right now. I'm going to go onto my pad and I'm going to pull up a die roller. Cute little drawing of me by me. And we're going to roll it. And we do it once, twice, third time's a charm to get our first number. Once, twice, third time. 2 is our who, which is a Bullywug. Bullywug is a D&D, Dungeons and Dragons creature that is like a big bipedal frog. And what is our bullywug doing? That's the question. So do it again once, twice. Third time, 4 is our number here. Our bullywug is a meteorologist. All right, so that's our first drawing, a bullywug meteorologist. So I'm going to come over here, make sure I've got my sketch turned on. We're on the right layer. We got blue. I like to do my sketches in blue. And we've got the right pen. And let's get going here. We've got a bullywug meteorologist. So I'm going to zoom in a bit on the page so we can do a sketch. And I'm going to get a rough... so Frog's head is kind of oblong and triangular with big bulgy eyes. The challenge sometimes is to make him not look like Kermit. But here we go. So, and they got big froggy feet like that. And now, what kind of the place here for us to play around with is what kind of weather might be on the weather map. Something that is either funny and suited to the current time in early December, or maybe something that's swampy and something that a bullywug would do. Maybe something hibernation related or swamp related. What do you think? I'm going to finish sketching out. So we got a bullywug and we got the map. So now I'm going to grab that and make it a little larger so it takes up more space. That's how I often do the sketching, is I'll zoom in and do the sketches small so I can do several of them right there, and then when I get something I like, I blow it up so it's the right size for the screen. Let's see, I think our bullywug's going to be wearing a suit and tie because, you know, he's on TV. He wants to look good. Of course, no pants. Why would a bullywug wear pants? That's a little silly. So what do you think, Linnea or Dale or Cindy or anyone else who happens to be watching right now? So we have some other folks who are, no one has to participate. I'm not going to push you to chat, but if you have an idea for something that could go on the weather map here, let me know. Raining frogs. That's got distinct possibilities. All right, I'm going to leave the map, and perhaps we'll have him saying something over here. We don't know yet, but I'm going to start in on the drawing of the bullywug himself because that's not going to change. Rain of frogs. Would that be something that a bullywug would be happy about or freaked out about? Didn't quite get that line where I wanted it. Okay. of frogs. We got that. That's a good start to this. Any other ideas? Feel free to throw them out, or iterate on them. That's one of the things you do when you're doing cartoons or writing of any sort. Really, you having a good idea. Never just automatically assume that that idea is good enough. Try to, as we say, iterate. Try to find a way that you can develop it a little. Take another shot. Maybe you'll stick with what you've got. Maybe it is the best idea that you came up with first. But I've found that usually, if I think about it, I can take an idea and develop it into something along the same lines even better. So, while I've got my head down here doing the basic drawing of our weather frog, you guys can think and see if there's another additional way we can go with that rain of frogs, or something else we can say about it, or if that's the idea we like. And if that's the idea we like, well, that's okay, because it's a good idea. All right, so you can see here, I've one of the interesting things is one of the nice things about drawing on the pad is you can zoom in to draw on, or focus on what you're drawing. But for those of you watching who may not be used to it, it's a little weird that suddenly we're zoomed in very tight on something that you may not be able to follow. So I'm going to try to stay zoomed out as much as I can. Go. And like I said, got big froggy toes. In fact, we'll make sure we get them webbed like frog feet ought to be. Maybe make sure that this hand is webbed too. And again, the details aren't super important as long as you get the feeling right. Talked about this before, how sorry, I'm just trying to decide whether I want to put a wire on his control wand for the weather map. The key in all these drawings is to get it so it feels right. It doesn't have to be right. All right, so let's use this now. Another nice thing about this is that if I want to draw a straight line with this program, which is called Procreate, I just have to draw a line and hold my pen down, and it'll snap into an actual fully straight line for me, like that. So I don't have to mess with rulers or anything. I can also get it to be perfectly perpendicular it'll snap, and I can move it around at different angles. Oh, yeah, there's some really great things. This whole digital drawing revolution has changed what it's like being an artist, and mostly in a good way. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna put an outline of a coastline, a little bit like the coastline of the World of Greyhawk, but can't say for sure. We're gonna put a cloud here. A little frog. I'm gonna zoom in on that so it's a little easier to draw with little frogs coming out of the cloud. Looks like vampire frog there. Let's not do that. Here again, these are pretty blobby things I'm drawing, but you get the right idea, you get close enough, and it sells the idea for you. All right, so we're gonna have a rain of frogs there. We're gonna have a front of some sort coming through there. I know what I'm gonna do here, and I'm not gonna explain it till I get there. All right, that's a good little thing. Let's jump in there and do some coloring on it. So I'm going to jump to the colors layer, and I'm going to turn off the sketch layer. That's what we've got there. I can see I made a couple of errant lines, so I'm going to erase those. Back to the colors layer, and let's drop some colors in here quick. We're going to switch over to the gloaming brush, which I like. It gives a nice crayon-y, markery look to what I'm drawing. It allows me to do quick, sketchy colors and have it look nice. So here we go. We're going to have our bullywug being froggy. We're going to make him basically green. And I don't know if you recall in the past, I've talked about one of the keys, whether you're doing it here digitally or working with markers and crayons, if you want to do that kind of quick coloring style, if you don't want to fill in the entirety of the space you're doing, you work with large shapes, like, so I fill in there and I get something which is about roughly the shape of what I'm filling in. Then it's got a very forgiving look, and it gives you a nice speedy coloring feel. All right, I'm gonna come here, more like a yellow on the belly, probably under there too. And I want to go back to the greens, do a darker green here, and fill in the spots with a darker green. also the webs. So they stand out a little more. It's a weatherman. He's on TV, so he's sure going to have a nice blue jacket like all weathermen do. Unless they're the kind that wear loud plaid jackets. And a power red tie. Okay, there is our... Oh, here's another little trick. So, your eyes are white, right? We know that the whites of your eyes are white, but they're not solid white. If you have a thing that you think it just looks a little too flat, if you take a very light blue or gray and put it around the curve area on the eye, it gives it just that feeling of having a little depth. All right, so what do we have going on here? Well, I'm going to have... I want that to be very light because it's in the background. So I'm going to have the map. Maybe some very light blue for the water area on the map. Again, we're trying to get the idea across without spending lots of time worrying about it. Okay, so come in here and add a little gray to the clouds so that it looks like a cloud. And then go back and add the green to the frogs. So we've got a rain of frogs. Maybe even, I'm going to switch back to my inking brush and put a little blue here so that we see that it's a rain of frogs. And then what color? Maybe purple for the front. Want to go back to my gloaming brush. Go maybe purple for the front, and behind it what we have are frozen frogs, because that's hibernation weather coming behind, and that's what I want to have him saying. So I'll tell you what, it looks like it looked like I left out an area. There's no area for me to put text in here, but I'm going to show you another trick I often do. It's not really much of a trick. One of the nice things, another nice thing about working digitally is that I can, let's go back, let's turn back on our sketch layer and go to our inking brush. We're going to have him want to say something like, rain of frogs tonight. But hibernation weather. I'm going to need a little more room than that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn off the color for a second so we can do this a little easier. I'm going to erase that. Now I'm going to use a space that's more like this. Which, say, Stan, what are you doing? You're going to cover, you've already drawn there. How are you going to do that? I'll show you. I'll show you in a second. This is gonna be fun. All right, so we're going to come in here and we're going to say rain of frogs tonight. But look out. Over the weekend, hibernation Weather is coming. All right, so it's very rough. But I can now grab that, move it around a little. Move it up a little here. Maybe shrink it down a little bit. So it's like that. All right. And here's how this is going to work. All right, I'm going to turn off my actual line work too. I'm going to add a new layer. I'm going to add a new layer above the line work. And that's where I'm going to put these letters. That's where I'm going to put the lettering. Let's say, let's do this not quite so quick. Smaller size pens because I'm writing text. Rain of frogs tonight. But look out. I think I'm going to change my phrasing here. It's hibernation. Weather is coming. Is coming for the weekend. And then we're going to create a word balloon here. Like that. Oops. No, don't do that. See, there is again the if I'm doing something with curves and I pause, it'll turn it into a circle or an ellipse or a circle of my choice. All right, that looks good, but we're still going to have the problem if we turn the lines on, then it's covered. But I'm going to add another line below that. I'm going to add another layer, sorry, below that. And I'm going to take that layer. You're going to love this trick. I'm going to take that layer and I'm going to fill it. Fill the space that is the word balloon. I'm going to fill it with blue. Which I'll explain in a second. You say, why blue is a strange thing to fill that balloon with, Stan? It's not the kind of thing you usually see in a word balloon. It's usually filled with white. Yes, it's true. So we got it filled with blue. And it is usually filled with white. But I've got a white background here, so it's very hard for me to see what I'm doing if I'm filling something with white. But I can fill it with blue, and then I can change that blue to white, just like that. And now, if I turn on my line, now you can see it is floating over the lines layer. So if I turn it off, you can still see the lines are there. But if I turn it on again, it blocks it and it lets me put the word balloon right over it. And I can still keep my colors from below. So there we go. Now I'm going to pop back into that colors layer because I'm noticing I'm not quite done with the coloring. So a couple more little added bits and we'll finish this out. I need to put a little bit of color on that. Maybe a red button on top. There we go. We've got our, oh, I need to sign it. Always put your signature on your work so the world knows. put my little stand down here. And we've got a bullywug meteorologist. Good first drawing. Here we go. A little crazy hair today. I don't know what's going on with that. I'm all clean and showered. I don't know why that's going on. But here we go. Meteorologist bullywug. Rain and frogs tonight. But look out. Hibernation weather is coming for the weekend. Yeah, there we go. Good. All right, so I'm gonna put this aside. I'm gonna take a little second to have a drink. And we can get on to a second drawing. So we'll come back here and close up round 1, turn it off, come to round 2, and turn back on our table so we can go back and do another random selection for what drawing number 2 this week is going to be. So go over to the die roller and we go once, twice, third time is the charm, and 3 is our who, which is 3 is a harpy. First time I put harpies on here, and so we'll see. And I'll tell you why. One of the reasons I didn't is a lot of times when you see people drawing harpies, they've got naked boobs. Our harpy is not going to be naked boobed because this is a family show. So, alright, but we got a harpy, and what is our harpy going to be doing? Once, twice, third time, 4. Is 4 what we just had before? 4 is a meteorologist again. Alright, so I leave it up to you guys here in the chat. Quickly, if you want to suggest either one of the other things from what, or any old anything, what can we have a harpy be doing here? Harpy, of course, is a half bird, half woman from Greek mythology, but show up in D&D as creatures also, on other fantasy settings. The harpy could be sitting in a tree full of foliage. We don't necessarily need the foliage hike. Those colorful autumn trees with a harpy sitting in it, sipping a coffee maybe. I'm thinking out loud here. Join me in this thinking process. What could we have a harpy doing? It doesn't have to be fall themed, but I did a drawing of, speaking of harpies having coffee, there's a while, this is a few years ago, I was taking part in an artist challenge to draw different female monsters every day for a week or two, and I drew a harpy at a cafe, just with a beret, sipping a nice cup of coffee. Maybe that's why I'm thinking of the harpy sitting in the tree. Let's see. If I get no other suggestions, that's what I'm going to go with, because it's in my mind. And we're getting ready. No dilly-dallying here, because, time's a wasting. This is entertainment. We got to be entertaining. All right, so I'm going to start sketching shopping for a hat. Just harpy shopping for a hat. That could do. Let's start with harpies have big taloned feet, and so the body not kind of vulture-like, which right now is looking turkey-like, but then come up top to a person. So a big hat. sketchy stuff in here. A big hat like that. Top hat? What kind of hat? We could have a big florally hat. And there could be more hats over here. Hat with feathers. Okay. Let's come here. I'm trying to sort out for myself exactly how I'm going to make this work. Okay, I'm kind of liking that. All right, I feel I have enough here. Let's switch to lines, and we'll start putting some lines in. I don't know. Can you see? I think you probably have a pretty good look at what I'm considering here. Why are you? Oh, of course. Let's do this. And then, although some of that hat stuff is falling off the side, we'll get it back later. We'll put some hats in the background. Okay, now we'll go to our lines layer and start to draw. Sorry, I just need to adjust this a little more. That'll work. And we're gonna do our harpy. Alright, so you see we got a rough outline there. I will start with the face. It's going to be the trendiest harpy we've ever seen. And harpy here. Now I originally had that tail it was looking kind of turkey-like, and I didn't really like that so much. So we're gonna give our harpy more of a fantail. And we'll put a flower there and a big old feather. Maybe two. Little cross hatching to give the idea that there's a straw hat underneath it, or not. I mean, not really a farmer's straw hat, but something of texture other than the feathers. We've got taloned feet. There we go. Oh, what a chic harpy that is. And we will. Here we're going to see that ellipse thing happen right before your eyes. I mean, it's hard. Drawing circles is hard. I don't know any artist that will tell you that you're wrong when you say drawing circles is hard. But the trick that artists have is we have tools to make our circles turn out a little better. And with apps like this, you have the tools too. There we go. We've got that in the display case. Maybe we'll have some other hats. Like so. That's how we get our other hats in there. There we go. Let's do this here again. Again, we don't need to. Oh, we don't need to do a full circle. All we need to do is a line. Oh, come on. And it'll snap into a more correct curve. I love that. That is a tool that is great as far as I'm concerned, because as I said before, drawing circles is hard. Drawing smooth curves is hard. Drawing straight lines is hard. I always find it funny when I ask someone if they can draw and they say, I can't draw a straight line, because honestly, neither can I. Not without a tool. Not without some help. I think that a lot of people don't understand how hard drawing a straight line actually is. Alright, so there we go. We've got we got to add some extra hair over there. And we've got a fashionable young harpy. Alright, so turn off our sketch layer. Look at what we've got here, and I want to add a few extra lines in here just to make it a little nicer. Actually erase a couple of these little stray lines that popped in. That's a nice little hat. I'd wear that. Okay. Good. Let's come over and put some colors on that, shall we? So, um, gonna make sure we go to our gloaming brush so we can get the quick sketch colors in here. And I can go with those rough shapes. Oh, I'm not sure I like that brown. Maybe we want it to be more of a tan, very light, creamy tan color for our basic hat color. And colored, got some flowers. Hmm. Trying to make these colorful feathers. Yeah, that's all right. You can see how those you can call them sloppy lines, not imprecise lines, but they work really well for this kind of coloring. Uh, Maybe, well, let's see. So the next thing I'm going to throw out to you guys is what color blouse we should put on our harpy. I'm going to use a blue for the body. Any idea what color blouse she should be wearing? Maybe a fuchsia, maybe a bright yellow, maybe another blue. I don't know. What do I know? Gonna, in fact, add that little extra dark kind of shadow thing to give a sense of shape here. Uh, yeah, let me know if you have any preference. Maybe a green uh, on the blouse. I don't have a lot of green in here. That might be where I'm leaning. but I'm certainly open to suggestions. Hmm. I'm going to take those colors, when I put them in the mirror, I'm going to wash them out so they're not as strong. And then I'll use some blue here to get the idea that it's a mirror. A little darker to go on the side. No fashion statements for her blouse color. And see what I do here. I don't often talk about this, but if you're just drawing quickly and you've got something that's a three-dimensional shape of any sort, and you want to help get that feeling, rather than use the same color all the way around, pick a side or things that are on one of the sides and use a darker version of it, and that will give that feeling of shadow. It will also give the feeling that the thing you're looking at is has dimension, has shape. That there. All right, here we go. No one else has spoken up, so green of some sort is going to be the color of the blouse. A little bit darker green here, and we'll give those shadowy highlights or additions there. A little bit of a brownish skin tone for shadows on the skin. There we go. Oh, maybe just a little bit here. All right, and we're just about done with this one. Come back to the lines layer. And we have a harpy hat shopping. I think she looks marvelous in that. What do you think? You know, it's something about those feathers are still bugging me, though. I think I want to add some more. First of all, I want to go to the color layer, but then I want to add some more color in there. That's way too strong. Ooh. something to show that these are colorful flowers. Colorful flowers. Or feathers, excuse me. Alright, there we go. I like that. So there's our second drawing. Second drawing done. A harpy doing some hat shopping. Looking good. Hope you guys are having a good weekend. And hopefully, if you're not watching live, hopefully you've pulled out some paper and you're doing some drawing along with us. Not necessarily the same thing, although if you are drawing a harpy hat shopping, take a picture or a scan, or if it's digital, send it to me. I'd love to see it. But yeah, the whole point of all this is that drawing is fun. We're doing this just for the fun of it, and yeah, I mean it's a fun drawing. So we'll duck out of here and do one more. We'll do one more and then wrap it up and get on with the rest of our weekends. So I will come back here and turn off round 2. We're going to go to round 3 and turn on the sketch. So I'm ready for that. And then come back to our tables. One more roll on the tables. Let's see what we got, shall we? Come back to the die roller. And once, twice, third time, and we got a 1 for our who. I don't remember what one. Oh, I think 1 is a dwarf or an elf. I put them in there because I tend to, when I say adventures, I almost always wind up with mostly humans and and a gnome. So I thought it'd be nice to let the dwarves and elves have a little shot at it, and the dice agreed. So our dwarf or elf is going to be doing something. Once, twice, third time. Let's do that again. Once, twice, third time. 4 again. I'm going to go back to that 3 we just rolled. What do we got here? I'm going to make an executive decision here. 1 is Black Friday and 3 is watching football. Let's do Black Friday because that's coming off the list either way. Because Black Friday is behind us now. It's already in the rearview mirror. So we're going to have a dwarf or an elf, or maybe both, on Black Friday. That is going to be our sketch here for our third and final drawing for today. So, let's see, we got inking. All right, so it's Black Friday. Let's see. I already think I've got a rough idea here. We're going to have a dwarf and an elf. And they're both going to have their hands on something. What's a good Black Friday thing to be fighting over? A TV? TVs seem to be, for some reason, the big item. Big, all right. They got there late. They got the very last one. This will be a 42-inch plasma. You know, plasma isn't even Who wants plasma anymore? You want LCD. But there we go. So we're gonna have. Got a rough idea of what I want here. All right. Alrighty. You know what? We can even have a gnome too. Because I know how much Dale loves the gnomes. Although that's really not turning out the way I want. Too big, too big. We'll come back to that later. I'm already trying to add extras in, and I'm doing okay. So we got a very rough outline here. Again, I've got an idea in my head. I think that's one of the big things that lets me do the stuff that we do here on the show is I can get an idea in my head and move from there. If you're just getting started as a artist or you're not used to it, don't try and do things quite as quickly as I do. Right? Put a little extra time into making a sketch, making sure all the um, you have the basic ideas down. A lot of people, and the other thing is, even here, you'll notice I don't. I'm not drawing whole shapes. I'm drawing parts of things. And, all of these creatures and items and other things we're drawing here, I you don't very often see me doing a whole outline of something. Right? I'm drawing the arm, and then I'm drawing the body around it. Uh, you want to work with basic shapes. I've been thinking about doing a separate video talking about that kind of thing. We've got a dwarf here. And the elf over here. that. That's looking pretty good. That's not, because the elf needs to be able to reach up to grab that now. That's not looking right. I need to get rid of the shoulder so I can give the elf a ruffed collar like that. Another thing that you'll see me doing here is paying a little extra attention to giving the characters some that's what I'm looking for, the posture that they're in. So it's not just straight up and down. In fact, I'm going to pause for a second here, and we're going to go back. We're going to look at the harpy. See, she's not standing straight up and down. I put a little curve in her back, and it's almost a C shape or a reverse J shape to where she's standing. So she's got a little attitude. She's got a little posture. When you try and draw someone just standing straight up, it makes it harder to make them interesting. It also makes it harder on you because it's not what you see in life. See what we did here. Even the bullywug here got several different curves you can see. See the curve of come on. See the curve of the body. What layer am I on? Okay, turn it on. No, not there. Let's just for a second look at this here. I want to turn that off. I want to turn these on so I can, there we go, okay. So let's just look closely for a second here. The bullywug looks like he's standing up, but the fact of the matter is the body goes like this, and like this, and like this, and it's got a little posture to it. It's got a little attitude. These are the kinds of things that make that you want to learn to play with. And it's not. It's too many beginning drawers, beginning artists try to just draw a body standing up straight, or legs going parallel. And if you're going to have two people fighting, you need to learn about the balance of how the body moves, and you learn that by looking at pictures or looking at people and practicing. There's no real secret to how to get it done. Like everything in life, it's practice. All right, let's get back here. And we got our elf and our dwarf fighting over. TV, the last of the Black Friday TVs. That's probably an interesting thing to do. Let's make the Black Friday sign even broken, because everyone has bought everything. So I'm going to put the sign at a bit of an angle here. Like that. guys. Gonna give him a little tug. Motion lines. And now I'll come back in and add. We've got a little extra time. Let's go back to the sketch layer. And trying to figure out what the best, maybe reaching in like this. The arms were what were throwing me there. It's looking more like a halfling than a gnome. That's okay. We do a lot of gnomes. Let's let the oh, and I put that on the wrong layer. Here's how I'm going to fix that. Here's another thing. As long as that right now that sketch, so we'll see here if I turn off the line, the dark lines, that disappears. As long as it's not crossing any of the other lines that I want to keep, I can grab that and I'm going to cut it, go down to the sketch layer, and I'm going to paste it. And now we can see that I've moved that little guy from being on the lines layer to being on the sketch layer. And I can go back and draw him there anyway. So yeah, sometimes when you make a layer mistake, you can fix it. But if I drawn that where it had been mixed in among the lines I'd already drawn, if it had gone through there like that, then I could not so easily lift it. All right, here we go. Everyone wants the Black Friday television special deal. Limited time offer. Diving in. Have you been to very many Black Friday sales like this? New Crystal Ball TV. What a great idea. Let's put that in. It's still going to be a 42 inch. Maybe it's even a 42 inch plasma crystal ball. Maybe it's an LCD. LCD. Crystal ball. Good idea. All right, there we go. I think that's a good sketch. Let's put some color on that and get on out of here. Okay, we're gonna go to our coloring layer. We're going to do our large shaped coloring. A little too far there with that. We'll come over here to our dwarf and work in more metallic colors. Our halfling, of course, is going to already kind of roguelike, so we'll give him a dark outfit. Again, we've talked about just change the color slightly, darker version of it on the side to give you that sense of it being three-dimensional. I think we want to go here with this color there, and slightly darker version of it there. And a lighter version of it up top. Oh, maybe the same as the side. There we go. That's not the color I want that to be. It looks the same as the hair. There we go. I think that finished it all. I don't think we need to do a lot of extra shading on this. There's a lot going on there already. We've got an elf and a dwarf and a halfling and a Black Friday melee. So let's come over here and give us a little stand to wrap it up. And we've got an elf and a dwarf and a halfling on Black Friday melee. We're shopping for a brand new crystal ball, as Dale and Cindy have suggested. And so that was our third drawing. Hold on, let me pause here. Let me just pause for a second. Appreciate what we've done. Not bad for a Saturday afternoon. We have an elf, a dwarf, and a halfling doing the Black Friday shopping mambo. We have a harpy going hat shopping. And we have a bullywog, a meteorologist. All that in a little more than an hour. Just hanging out, doing some drawing, having some fun. I would like to tell folks. Well, first of all, I want to thank you all for joining me. Dale and Cindy and Linnea, thank you for popping in here. I know we've had a bunch of other folks in the chat or in watching. I can see that they've been there, haven't joined the chat, which is A-OK. I hope that you had fun. I hope that if you've done any drawing, maybe you'll share it with me, share it with the audience. But you don't have to, right? It's just for fun for you. I'm going to turn off this so it's just me. You get just me back. We're going to finish with looking at me. It's December. It's a season when everyone's going to be really busy. Lots of parties, lots of things going on. I will still be here, hopefully, internet problems notwithstanding, every Thursday. Even the holidays shouldn't interfere with that because none of the holidays are falling right on a Thursday. We're going to have more holiday-themed items on the encounter charts. I want to tell you that if you like my drawings and you want to maybe have something of my own for your own, that I have a coloring calendar that is currently for sale as PDF only. We're working on getting a print-on-demand version. I don't have an easy link to that, which is something I probably should have thought of before I came here to try and advertise it at all. But if you go to my any of my social media, you should find it. It's a 2024 coloring calendar. We've got 13 coloring pages and calendars for each month of the year, plus a whole 2025 calendar at the back. And on there are dates. I've sprinkled it with the birth dates of artists and musicians and actors who have been very inspirational to me. So you'll get to find out some famous people's birth dates. That's fun too. Anyway, I will have a link for that next time. If you just can't wait for that, go to my Facebook feed or my Instagram feed, and you will find a post about that. You can get the link yourself. As I say right now, it's only available as a PDF that you can download and print out yourself, but we're working on getting a print version up for sale just as quickly as we can, and I'll for certain talk about this in the upcoming week. So maybe you just want to think about it and come back next. Wait until we've got the print version that you can buy and then hang on your wall yourself. Anyway, thank you everyone for showing up. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate your time. You can follow me on Instagram. Is a great place to follow me. As I say, you can also find out about the calendar there. Instagram.com/Stanex. If you really like what I'm doing and you want to support it more, you want to encourage me and support my art habit, which means I supply more art for you. You may want to join my Patreon community over at patreon.com/Stanex. In the meanwhile, I hope everyone is doing well. Hope you're having a good start to your holiday season. And I will be back on this coming Thursday with more random encounters. So I hope you'll join me then. Till then, take care, everyone. Bye.